Hello, I'm Zach. I'm the owner of Future First Criminal Law. If you've never been to court before, or even if you have, you should still listen to this video because I'm going to go over the important things that you should know when you have to appear for your court appearance for any misdemeanor case. Okay, a misdemeanor case is most common going to happen in a city court. So this is city courts or justice courts. So think Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, Scottsdale. If you have to go to court for anything that's a misdemeanor, this is going to be important for you to know. Know the first thing is this, is you will be represented by us, the law firm. Ed at this point is likely going to be the attorney that is appearing there with you. One of the things that we want you to know is we will be sending you text messages advising you of your court appearances that are coming up. It is your responsibility to please read these text messages. They're very important. Mark these dates down in your calendar of when you need to appear. Also understand that some of these text messages will tell you that you don't have to appear. Okay, so that's very important that if you don't have to appear, you're also aware of that too. Usually in the beginning stages of any misdemeanor case, we as the lawyers are allowed to go to court or contact the court and the prosecutors without you really ever being involved. That's a huge benefit for you, which means that you can continue going to work, continue on with your life, let us handle your case until we get to the end. When we get to the end, then we will always need you to come to court at the end. Okay, this is very important. At some point, you will always have to come to court unless for whatever reason your case gets thrown out and dismissed. Just know, if we get towards the end of your case and we're having you appear at court, we should always, in most situations, have a loom similar to this video prepared for you, especially if we've got the plea deal, we're ready to maybe accept it, or we're explaining what trial might look like. Before you go to court, we will have sent you some kind of loom video. It's typically 15 to 20, 30, 45 minutes long that explains what's going on with your case. We break down exactly what the police were doing, and we explain what potential final resolutions there are for you. Because we want you to watch this video a week or so before the actual court appearance, so that way you're prepared and ready for what's going to happen when you appear in court. This video is going to basically go over some of the basics of what you should do and think about beforehand in order to get through some of the easy stuff. Some of the easy stuff you need to think about the day before when you appear to court is, what are you going to wear? Okay, what you're going to wear means a lot in most cases, okay? Understand this is misdemeanor cases. The judges at these courts, they understand that this is working class people. This is usually your first, second, maybe even your third offense, and that you are a productive member of society. You have jobs, you have careers, you work every day, you take care of your children, your family. So it's not going to be like the Met Gala. You know, you don't have to dress to the nines when you come to court here for the misdemeanor court. We always believe that it's important for you to dress nicely because it sets a good impression to the judge and to the prosecutor that you're taking this seriously. If you show up wearing, cut up jeans, a shirt that looks like it hasn't been changed in a few days, your hair is all messy, then it really doesn't do you any favors, okay? In fact, it could maybe even make things go worse for you. It's pretty rare that that would happen, but we have seen it before for other people that weren't our clients. For men, we're talking that you should be wearing polos, a polo at minimum, something with a collar. You don't necessarily need to go full button up like what I'm wearing. You definitely don't need to wear a tie or a jacket. If you do, please do so. You can always dress nicer. There's nothing that's going to ever work against you the nicer that you dress. Think about wearing jeans as well, a belt, and some clean shoes, okay? We understand again as well that you work, so if you have a work uniform, that's completely acceptable as well. Obviously make sure it's clean, it's not covered in paint stains and things like that, okay? Wear the nice uniform, and then when you go and leave court, you can put on the bad uniform if that really is what it means. For ladies, something to think about here is, again, if you're dressing to a semi-casual event, think business casual. That's what you should be thinking about wearing. The general rule of thumb for court at really all levels when it comes to ladies is to keep shoulders covered, cleavage covered, and closed-toed shoes, okay? Long dress, long skirt, that is appropriate as well. That's the general rules when it comes to courts. I don't make these rules. They may not be PC. That's just what they are these days. Don't wear heels, don't wear high heels. You're not there to, be super uncomfortable. We want you to wear flats, closed-toed shoes, be comfortable. Don't also be so comfortable that you're wearing your athletic gear. We all love Lulu, but Lulu doesn't really belong in the courtrooms for this kind of purpose, okay? The courtrooms aren't usually super cold or anything like that, so you usually don't need to bring like a sweater or anything along those lines. Think again more like a wedding for both men and women. What would you wear going to a nice wedding that, it looks semi-professional? That's what you should be thinking when you have a misdemeanor court appearance here. What you should also be thinking about is travel to court, okay? The days before you travel to court, please make sure you Google the address. Know how long it takes you to get to court, okay? Try Googling the address at the time that the court appearance would be scheduled for in the previous day. So for instance, if you have court on Wednesday at 8 a.m., on Monday morning at 8 a.m., please punch into your phone the address and see what it looks like with the traffic, okay? Every one of our city and justice courts have free parking, so I want you to be aware of that. The hard part about this is you need to know where it is, and that's where I would love to give you this perfect map, but there's 13 plus different courts, so it's very difficult to tell each person where the free parking is. Just know it's usually right outside of the court building. Also outside of the court building are metered parking where you can, punch in quarters or you can pay with the credit card to park at a metered spot. Just know you don't have to do that. The free parking is usually around the corner, around the block in, a free parking area. If you do park in a parking garage that is paid for, of course that is paid for as well, something that you should be aware of. It's my recommendation, try and visit the court and the surrounding areas days or weeks before you actually have to appear. That way you can prepare, know how to get there early, know where you're going to park. That way everything's planned out, because it's a very bad excuse to say that you showed up late because you couldn't find parking, because you didn't know where you were going, you went to the wrong court. We send you the address in the text message. We want you to know where to go. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to appear at the court at the time that we tell you to appear, okay? We also don't want you paying, a meter, so don't think that, some court appearances take 5 minutes, some take 2 hours. We don't know how many people are going to be in line in front of us. We don't know how busy the judge is going to be, so it's not a good idea to pay for an hour in a meter and then just think, oh, I'm going to leave the courthouse and then pay it again, because who knows, you might miss your turn, which makes the judge mad and everyone else mad for that. So please think ahead of when it comes to those situations and what's going to be happening there. One of the important things that we want you to be aware of too is the start time of the court. This is very confusing if you've never been to court. Most of the start times will be at 8:30 in the morning or 1:30 in the afternoon. That is like the default scheduled time that all these judges schedule everyone for. But guess what? That's the time that you're required to be there, but not us, the lawyers. I know that sounds counterintuitive. People sometimes might get upset when you show up there by 8:30 and you're like, well, where's my lawyer? Guess what? We are not required to be there at 8:30. Most times we will be there at 8:30 or even beforehand. But understand, sometimes we go and talk to the prosecutors in their office at 8:30 because that's who we, as the lawyers, want to discuss things with. We might be across the hall. We might be across the road. We might be at a different courthouse. We are allowed to be there late because we will then contact the judge ourselves internally beforehand to let the judge know, here's where we anticipate we are going to fall. The judges are always happy with that. It does not ever look bad on you or anything along those lines. But just know if you don't appear for court, that's when the judges do get upset because it's kind of supposed to be a one-time show up for you. There's no good excuse that you didn't set your alarm or anything like that. One of the things I want you to be aware of is please don't bring guns, weapons, knives, pepper spray to court with you. There's security in every single one of these courts. They will confiscate it. It's not a good look. They're going to take it from you. When you get through security, there's always a general waiting area in the court building, okay? In the courthouse, in the court building, there's a general waiting area. You will also, I'm sure, be told which courtroom you can go to, and you can sit in the courtroom. Yes, you are allowed to sit in the courtroom even without us, your lawyers, there. It's not usually what we recommend. We usually recommend that you wait just outside of the courtroom. That way it's easy for us to see you when we get there. Granted, we have body camera footage, we have your photo from your driver's license, so we usually know what you look like. And of course, you can see what we look like on our website and know how to spot us. But if you're in the courtroom, just know sometimes it looks awkward if we go in there, we had to yell your name, and then you got to come out of the courtroom. So it's typically best inside the courthouse in the air conditioning. Don't sit outside. It's 100 degrees in the summer. We will be able to find you. We'll be able to go over any last minute things that we need to discuss with you. Understand things change last minute as well. For instance, we've had this happen many times where we get there all to court and 5 minutes before the judge cancels everything, or even the evening before the judge cancels everything. So when we tell you the morning of, we deeply apologize. We didn't want you to take off work, take your kids to daycare or do anything that's an inconvenience to you. Just know the judge kind of runs the show when it comes to the actual court appearances. So if they cancel it, they reschedule it, we apologize. We're going to try and give you as much notice as possible. It's also very important that when you come to these court appearances, please bring all your court paperwork. Bring anything that you got from the criminal case itself. If you had to get fingerprints done, absolutely bring that. If you had to get screening, counseling, AA slips, letters of support, please bring that. Even if you send it to us here at the firm, please bring an extra copy, put it in a folder, an envelope, put it somewhere where you're not going to lose it. Bring it to us. It's always best to have an extra copy just in case. One of the things we want you to be aware of too is if we all eventually go into the courtroom and we're sitting there waiting on the judge, because the judges can take a long time sometimes, it is actually okay to be on your cell phone. So sit on your phone, play games, text people, sit on Facebook, whatever it is. The golden rule here though is the moment the judge comes out, you absolutely have to put your phone away, put it on silent, don't be on your phone if the judge is sitting in the courtroom. Another little standard procedure is this. Whenever the judge enters the courtroom, everyone is supposed to stand up, and then the judge will tell everyone when to sit down. So just know if you don't do that, it's not the end of the world, but that is standard procedure that everyone should be aware of. The final thing that I want to mention is if you have friends, family, children, and you're like, can they all come to court with me? Yes, they technically are allowed. It is a public courthouse. Anyone's allowed to be there. This is what I'll say about this though, is this is your case, so you are the one who's supposed to be there. Focus. Please don't get stuck trying to organize who's showing up, when they're showing up, that they're leaving, what they look like, all this extra stuff. Your case is the most important thing here, okay? But if you want to bring a spouse or one extra person, that's where we say it's typically okay. Any more than one, it's usually not needed and a little excessive, okay? It is also not appropriate to bring anyone under the age of 18. We know childcare can be expensive, but you are not allowed to bring children into the courtroom. Sure, can they sit outside of the courtroom in the courthouse, in the waiting area? Yes, absolutely, as long as they have a parent or guardian with them. So again, you can't bring a 5-year-old and have them sit in the front with security while you go into the courtroom for an hour. That's not allowed. So just know, please don't bring children to court. That's typically not appropriate. Again, if you want to bring, a parent, a significant other, a spouse, that is appropriate, but usually it's not even required there as well. So that's really everything that goes into appearing at misdemeanor court as far as the basics go. Again, there will be another Loom video in your case that goes deeper into what your options are going to be, other things that you might need to say, things that you might need to think about. But this should cover some of the basics that hopefully make it easy for you to know and to plan ahead how to get there, how to dress, what it's going to look like as far as the time goes, and anything else on these random ends that you might be thinking are something that you've never heard of because you've never been to court. We want this to go as smooth and as easy as possible for you. So please let us know ahead of time if you have any questions or if you need any special accommodations, such as interpreters or wheelchair access or anything like that. We'll be happy to let you know. Thank you.